Hi, we're Wiser Systems. I'm Seth Hollar, CEO, and today we have
Logan Maxwell, wearer of many hats.
And today we're going to talk about military and defense as it relates to RTLS. So Logan, again, set the stage for us.
Okay, so in terms of military and defense use cases, there's two very distinct paths you can take. Okay. One is the way we're used in industry, used in military and defense.
And what are some of the areas where you would use it the way you normally use it in industry and military and defense?
This a lot of times is tracking assets, valuable items, right? Or things that are being processed and made. And that can either be at forward operating bases or in the logistics side of all the Army, Navy, even the Air Force, as well as, if you isolate on the Air Force, MRO, right? MRO shops, also with the Marines, also with the Navy. So
okay.
There's a pretty decent crossover with the commercial side of how Wiser is used with just simply the same things on the military side.
And going a little bit further with that, military obviously, or defense obviously has a lot of valuable items that they want to know where they are, where they went, and have basically an audit trail.
Right, exactly. So needing to track each thing, it's the same. You put a tag on the item and then the whole flow as it moves through the whole process is tracked.
Great. So that was use case one, and you mentioned kind of a alternative use.
Yeah, before we get into the detail of option one, option two is utilizing the core technology that powers Wiser and its abilities in a more creative way.
So core technology being the algorithms and know-how of being able to identify where something is with a relatively precise location.
Right, and a lot of that comes down to the way the antennas communicate and the way the tags communicate and how that can be done in a quick, ad hoc, on edge, on premise, GPS denied capability.
Right. So being in an area where GPS is lacking or there's interference or denied, you can still set up a system. I think the key term here is PNT, right? Precision navigation.
Position, navigation, and timing.
Yes. Position, navigation, timing.
Yes, particularly Alt-PNT, the alternate position, navigation, and timing, right? Particularly if you don't have GPS or any other way to know around. This is an ad hoc, self-isolated, contained timing system that allows you to have position because with time you have position.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
And some of the attributes that Wiser Systems has with regular industrial installations, like ease of setup, being able to set up both wired and wireless, how does that translate over to the military and defense side?
Right, so let's unpack kind of the first path first, right? So in an operating base or in a logistics department or in an MRO facility or somewhere where we're taking helicopters apart, we're putting jets back together and jet engines, there are lots of parts and pieces and things that need to be labeled and tracked. What we have found, say in practicality, is we're not coming in to replace the audit system or the already, the Maximos of the world and what you're already registering in. What we allow is a constant roving barcode.
Right.
We are at a technology tool level coming into shops and saying, you scan this into Maximo, and as it moves around the shop, we'll set up the database so that your current platform, whatever you might use, I reference Maximo because I'm more familiar with it, but whatever current kind of tracking system that you're using at a software level can be set to be constantly updated from the Wiser database side. So as this roves from different unit to unit, department, machine, we can give a constant update, right? So we come in at kind of the data generation tool level to a lot of these shops.
Data generation gets put into Maximo or something else, and then easily that data gets percolated wherever it needs to be in its normal standard way.
Yes, and so in a lot of times, we welcome, if you guys are curious, if you are watching this and you are on a military side, know that there will be a partner involved, and or it may be the same system you already use. We are just going to be providing more rich real-time location data into that platform, right? In other commercial related sides, a lot of times you're going to just use our interface as it exists. But on the government side, there's a lot of checks, there's a lot of audits. We want you to kind of retain those systems as much as you can. And so we're going to be generating the data. But please reach out, contact form. We have contact email, phone. Let us know. We're happy to come on site, do a demonstration, figure out if it actually is going to work. And then we will work with you to make sure that the data is getting into the systems that you already have in place. Just try to minimally disrupt the patterns of behavior you've already set in place with the shop that you have. But the use cases are largely the same in a lot of our commercial side of things, right? So anywhere where things are moving, fixtures, jigs, right? Any sort of black and white inventory of expensive things, the same thing can be used in the military side as Weiser.
Yeah, I might say that maybe there's a little more heavier emphasis on keeping track of government-owned assets and having an audit trail associated with that.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, that's good. We do have this diagram up here. Is this the right time to bring it up, or should we talk about it at some other point?
Yes, sure. I don't know. Hopefully the editorial wizards haven't just had this blank on the screen the whole time. And hopefully just now it's appeared. But essentially this is the architecture if you were to run this completely 100% on premise. It's important to note, even given the current AWS outage that we've seen, that a lot of times this Weiser system is going to be 100% isolated internal to your existing network. When it comes to military deployments, that's specifically important. I mean,
right.
This is going to, as I said, we come in as a data generation tool. We are now making your barcodes constantly on and scanning 100% of the day, every day, all the time. That's what this does. It's just going to live internal to your network. It's going to be on a virtual machine, on a virtual local area network, separated, isolated, internal. And so this diagram, and we share this, I think we probably have this online somewhere, but essentially you have all of these antennas. They're going to be plugged in and usually daisy-chained Ethernet at the site. We also support wireless, which in option 2 we will get to.
Sure.
But usually in the commercial side of things, and even for your shops, your MRO shops, your logistics, forward operating bases, et cetera, but probably Ethernet wire this because it's easier to get that power out there. And this will just be running on-prem. It can be set up quickly. We've gone through calibration before. This can be important when you're setting up temporary logistic hubs in Afghanistan, in Kandahar.
That's the other differentiation. Yeah. This can be set up quickly. It can be temporary. It doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to be measured in weeks. It could be done in a day, for example.
So for when we mention forward operating bases, we really mean that. Like this whole thing can be set up usually within an hour or 2 hours, depending on how knowledgeable you are about the system. Ideally, you would be trained and you can set this up very fast. We set this up in large areas very quickly because we've done it before. You would likely, hopefully, also have that, right? So go to a base, set it up, keep track of your assets in and out and all around the forward operating base. That's something that's a lot harder to do with pretty much any other technology. This would allow you dots on a map of where everything is. Right. And we've gone over other videos on that calibrates quickly, and we've shown that sort of thing. Go watch those videos.
But yeah, all of that kind of translates over to this.
Exactly. So this can be easily set up and done quickly, so it can be done at those contexts. If you take that, all of what I just said, easily set up, easily configurable, can calibrate quickly, can operate entirely on premise, and can support wireless, what does that all mean? Well, if you go onto the second side,
so we're talking about option 2.
On the other side of the coin, this entire system can be deployed ad hoc, on-prem, Alt-PNT, GPS-denied environments. So now we're not talking about a forward operating base. We're potentially talking about building this in small unit tactics, people dropping out of helicopters, areas where you're not necessarily supposed to be. You can create your own ad hoc timing signal methodology that allows for live coordinate positions of everything that's tagged. Now, is it a perfect out-of-the-box fit for those applications?
It depends on the circumstances and the scenario and the situation, and understood that all of these will, each user application will be a little bit different. But in the ability to set something quickly, get it up and running, and have it move around in some sort of defined geofence area, yeah, absolutely, that's something that can be done.
So calibrating quickly a mesh of a few ground units, a few ground vehicles, a few aerial vehicles, some drones, that can all be auto-calibrated quickly. What we would really want to do, and please ring us to do this, ideally we could separate ourselves from some FCC power limitations that we have on the commercial side of things. You aren't necessarily going to need to follow that when you're in an active combat zone.
Right.
And so there are things that we can do with this technology, right? You could think where the range could be significantly increased from what we have on a commercial side of things, right? And so it's really the same algorithmic methodology that's occurring on the back end, right? But you can do it and have it contained on-prem, right? This would be on a computing device on a helicopter, or a computing device on some sort of drone station, or on some sort of, in the bubble, as they say. So it's applicable. We're towing a fine line here. I don't know where we can talk about or where we have to stop.
I think you're good. I think you've said the message.
Okay, but suffice to say, reach out. Let us know if this is of interest to you, and we can go into further detail, in particular with NDAs in place. But there's really two different major kind of applications on the military. I feel like we've covered both, essentially.
Right.
But
one is the traditional one that kind of slots in from the industrial use case with some emphasis on ease of setup and audit trails. And the second one is more kind of a mobile sense where you can really quickly set up and identify where all your items are at any time.
Right, exactly. So if you're interested in either of those, reach out. Happy to talk. Anybody at Wiser's, we're all engineers here, so pretty knowledgeable in how to get this to work for you. So
I think that's a good wrap up here. It complements our new page talking about military and defense. So appreciate everyone's time. And again, reach out. If you have any questions, happy to engage in more discussion. Thank you so much.
Thanks.